Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. I was here earlier, but I had some technical glitches. I'm back. So I'm very happy to be here. Very indeed happy. I must first applaud Professor Francisca Ugueleka. Professor Francisca, thank you so much. In fact, I've never met you. I don't even know you. You've done an excellent job. It's like we had met and we had spoken about this topic. Everything you did is about 70% of what I have on my slide. So you've done most of my job for me. You've done most of my job. Professor, thank you so much. I'm going to add to where you stopped. I'm going to continue from there. I must admit that we must run. We must run to catch up. That is what I would say. We have a lot to do. And I would add that this is a kind of clarion call for us to run to catch up. First of all, we have all agreed and established that generative AI, which is the latest emerging technology, has large potentials to solve so many problems. We have established that. We have also established that we have data problem in Nigeria. If you want to do a job, you need to collect your data. This is another big problem. Now, how do we go from here? We are in the academic sector. We have students, we have projects, and our major challenge is getting the real data, because for you to build innovative solutions that will solve your local problem, the data online will not suffice. You need to actually get data from the source you have to get it from the sector whose problem you are solving. And most of the issue is that they refuse to share data. That is one established fact. Another issue I have established is that before this presentation came up, I had actually been working with my project students using generative AI to solve local problems. Now, I have somebody working with IBM. His name is Tosin Amuda. Tosin said to me, he is the global business developer, IBM's Innovation Studios, IBM globally. He said he's an ex-student of our school. He's a product of our school. So from time to time, I call him and discuss with him about the latest technology in the digital space. He told me, I quote in his words, he said, companies in Africa are struggling with how to adopt generative AI to solve their business problems and tap from the immense benefits of this cutting-edge technology, which is generative AI. This one is exact quote. If you can see the slide, you will see I wrote it there at the top. That is an established fact. Companies in Nigeria are, not just in Nigeria, in fact, the whole of in Africa are struggling to adopt generative AI. So we have a problem on our hand to kind of help industries see and know how to use these latest technologies to solve their business problems. Because the benefits from using this technology is quite enormous. We can't overstate the importance of the benefit we derive from generative AI. Now, generative AI enhances productivity, creativity, and efficiency. It helps industries to enhance their creativity, their productivity, their efficiency. It also drives productivity and innovation. Generative AI is transforming industries worldwide, and Africa is no exception. So it's important for us to embrace this cutting-edge technology to foster innovation and streamline digital productivity. Now, the speaker yesterday, one of our speakers, Mr. Dotun Adeoye, he said in his organization, they are trying to gather information on the areas where AI could be used to solve companies' problem, that they are trying to do a research in that area. So he has established there is a problem. Dr. Adekombi Adebayo, Dr. Adebayo Adekombi of Data Science Network also re-emphasized yesterday that the world is waiting for us, that we should build solutions for our local problems using global best practices. This was his words yesterday, that the world is waiting for us. Now, Professor Francisca Ugoeleka has also added her own bit on how we can identify local problems and solve with this technology. So it is a fact now that we have this problem at our hands. And it is our generation and the next generation, the younger generation, that should drive this innovation in Africa. Now, before we go, let's look at the rate of adoption of this technology globally. Let's look at it. There's a chart there, if you can see. Look at the rate of adoption and deployment of artificial intelligence in enterprises globally and in selected countries. This is as at 2022. China has 30% of its investment exploring AI, and they have deployed 58%. They've deployed AI, or let's say about 60% deployment. They've had approximately 60%. China and India has the highest rate of deployment. India has 57%, and they adopt exploring for the exploration. They've had 27%. Look at Singapore. Singapore has the high one. Their rate of exploring AI is 46%. Spain 45%. UK 47%. And their corresponding rate of deployment for Italy, Italy is 42%. UK is 25%. Germany is 34% rate of deployment. So if you look at these statistics, it is way, way higher than what we have in Africa. What do we have in Africa? In Africa, we are still, our rate, for instance, from my research, I found out that the rate of adoption of generative AI across companies in sub-Saharan Africa remains in its early stages, which is just about 27%. You see, CEOs are saying that they've only adopted it 27% in their... I can hear some echo, please. Can you hear me clearly? Please, can you hear me? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Because I can hear it.
We can hear you, ma, but we can't.
You can't see my slide?
You can't see. Yes, no slide.
Okay, somebody is...
I can hear you.
Okay, the slide is with the MIVA organizers. So I gave them the slide to share. They are to share it from their end because I had trouble sharing it from my end. So I sent my 2 slides to them to help me share. Let me chat the person in charge why they are not sharing the slide. They told me to go on with my presentation, that they will share my slide. That was our agreement. 1 second, let me send a message to the group. Please share my slide. Slide. You participate. Okay, I've sent a message to the group. They will see it and they would act on it. I have it from my end. I'm unable to share it from my end from some technical issues, and I was asked to send it across. I have sent it to them, and they have my 2 slides. So the rate of adoption of AI in Africa is still low. Now, in Africa, the country with the highest rate of adoption is South Africa. We have Kenya, we have Rwanda, we have Nigeria as well. And most other countries in the continent of Africa are still at their low stages, very low stages of adoption. So what does that mean? Why are we at this low stage of adoption? Can you see the slide now? Okay, they said they will share it. They've sent me a message I should continue speaking.
No, ma'am.
They will share it. They've sent me a message that they are working on sharing it, that I should go on speaking. So please listen. It will be shared, and it will even be shared to you after the program. So please let me go on. I have just 20 minutes. So I'm talking about the rate of adoption of AI in Africa, that it is still low, except in countries like South Africa, Kenya, Rwanda, and so please, is there echo in my presentation? Is there echo? Okay. No echo. Okay. Okay. No, thank you. Thank you. All right, because I can hear some noise in the background. I thought it was infiltrating. Now, the rate of adoption, like I said, in Africa is still low. Why is this so? Why is the rate of adoption low in Africa? Let's ask ourselves this question. And one, we have some teething problems why this is low. Looking at the immense benefits that we can derive from using this technology, we are not yet able to optimally use this technology. One major problem leading to this is that one of the major problems we are unable to adopt this is this. I think we have a problem of knowing which of the models to use to solve our local problems. There are many models available. So I made a kind of table here guiding us on the type of models to use to solve our the different tasks or problems we are having, business problems we might have. So because there are so many, a particular task can be solved by many models, and a particular model can solve many tasks. So it's like a many-to-many relationship. So how do you know the model to use to solve your particular problem? That is a problem. So I wrote something here that the type of generative AI model to use is a function of the AI task you have. This AI task can be cut down into we can slice it down into the business problem to be solved. For instance, in my chart here, in the table I presented, I have business sector, type of task, generative AI models to use, the examples of the applications you can build, and then the benefit to that sector. For instance, in the marketing and advertising sector, we have the tasks to be solved like content creation, generating personalized marketing ads, creating product description, designing variations of your marketing materials. So these are different AI tasks we have in this sector, in this business sector. Now, what are the models you can use? We have so many foundational models which you can take and we improve on it. We have foundational models, we have pre-trained models. You can take them to use and train them with your own data, you fine-tune it, and then you come up with your own model and then use it to solve problems in that particular domain. For instance, in the marketing and advertising section, we have ChatGPT-3, ChatGPT-4, DAL-E, Stable Diffusion, Robert A. So these are examples I got. I tried to gather some things for you. And then for customer service, we can have tasks like building conversational agents, doing sentiment analysis, doing text summarizations. We have the list of models we can use: ChatGPT, GPT-3, GPT-4, Beth. So what do? We develop chatbots, we automate the customer service support systems, and then we summarize support tickets. This improves customer service efficiency, it reduces wait times, and provides 24/7 support to companies. And then it also helps to gain insights into customer satisfaction. Another sector, business sector, is the finance and banking sector. What are the AI tasks we have here? We have document generation, fraud detection, data augmentation. We also have sentiment analysis. What models can we use here? We have GPT-3, GPT-4, BERT, GANs. These are not just all the models. These are just some of the models we can use. Like I said, a problem can be solved by many models. You can use many models to solve a particular problem. And a particular task can be solved by many models, you see. So it's a many-to-many relationship. And then when we pick any of the suitable models we decide to choose, you have to do some analysis. When you see many models that can solve a particular problem, do some review to find out which of the models will solve your particular use case properly, optimally. And that's the model you will take and run with. Now you get the data, you do your fine tuning, and then your model is done. So another sector I listed here is health and medical sector, healthcare and medicine. We have the tasks here include medical image generation, protein structure prediction, text summarization, data augmentation. What models can we use here? We can use models like StyleGAN, AlphaFold, T5, GANs, and so on. So what will you be able to do? What are the benefits? It will lead to improved diagnostics and treatment planning. It will lead to drug discovery and development. It will lead to enhanced patient care and support. And it will lead to improved operational efficiency. So generative AI can automate administrative tasks in hospitals and clinic. Now, another sector I listed here is media and entertainment. What are the AI tasks we can do here? We can do content creation, music generation, video generation, and image enhancement. What are the models we can use? We can use models like MuseNet, Mukogan, VQ, VAE2, StyleGAN, GPT-3. Now, what can you do? You can write scripts and articles, you can compose music, you can create video content, you can enhance the image and video quality. Now, another sector is e-commerce. I listed the tasks here I have is product description generation, image generation, customer review analysis. And then the models we can use include GPT-3, Roberta, Beth, DAL-E. And what will be the advantage? What benefit we did? What is the benefit from this? We're going to improve product discoverability and conversion rate. We're also going to enhance customer experience with personalized offerings. And it's also going to lead to improved profitability and bottom line for the company concerned. In the educational sector, what can we do here? We can, Professor Francisca, the last speaker, Ogweleka, had mentioned a lot in the educational sector. Like I said, these are just some of the sectors I came up with. There are many more. Professor Ogweleka mentioned so many sectors. We can actually use these models to solve problems there. She listed the educational sector. She listed, she listed renewable energy, waste management, agriculture and food security. Hello?
Hello, Doc. Sorry for interrupting. Please, I would like you to wrap up. You have less than a minute to wrap up, Doc, please. Thank you very much.
Have I spent 19 minutes? Oh, I wasn't aware. Okay, let me quickly run through.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have a section. I need to say something. These are the different sectors I listed. Now, to help us jumpstart, I have a model. I did emphasize that all these things we want to achieve are what are clearly written. All the goals we want to achieve using generative AI are what has been listed in the Sustainable Development Goal by the United Nations. We have the 17 goals, no poverty, no zero hunger, and all that. So these are all the things we intend to achieve with generative AI. So it is something we should embrace. Now, our major problem here, I think, for some of us is the lack of the technical knowledge on how to build the model. Now, I have a demo here. I have a step-by-step guide to building the learning, building a generative AI application. I came up with an example of the step-by-step guide. The step including you define your application requirements, you choose the right LLM model, you prepare the development environment, you assess and fine-tune the model, and then you build the application. Now, I also have a collab. I came with a collab slide showing you a BET model, a foundational model called BET, which I fine-tuned with Laura Q. I have the data set I got from Hugging Face, and I built the model, showing you the step-by-step guide for you to jumpstart. This is for those who don't have the knowledge, because some people, from yesterday's presentation, I could see that some people have the knowledge of how to start. Some people may not have. So I had to find a way to incorporate this which is actually the theme of my work, building LLM models for digital economy. There is a slide there in Collab. I have shared with the organizer, which you can look at. It guides you through the step-by-step method of how you are going to jumpstart yourself if you don't have knowledge of building generative AI models. I have done that there. I use pre-trained model, Beth, and I use LoRa to do the fine-tuning. It's there. The result, the accuracy is there. And then with all the tremendous benefit that generative AI brings, why are we here? Why are we having low adoption? Like I did say, most companies in Africa do not know how to adopt generative AI to solve their business problem. I guess we don't have adequate generative AI skill set. We should try and learn this. And then we don't have enough data set. The local data we need to build our innovative applications are not readily available. Personally, I have tried to get data from companies, from medical centers, from banks. I have not been successful after several attempts. So getting the local data is a huge problem. And we should look at this. We should do something in this direction. We have to sensitize all the people having this data in their custody to please release this, because we're not going to go far without data. Because these innovations we're talking about is data-driven. How are we going to build our applications when we don't have our own local data? Going online to repositories to get the data is... So I am making a call to action that we must strive to close the adoption gap so that we can benefit from this by getting our own local data. The benefit that generative AI brings is closely linked to what previous speakers highlighted yesterday. The benefit of generative AI is what has been itemized by the United Nations as the SDG goal, that's the Sustainable Goals. So in summing up, I say we must run after, we must chase, and we must overtake generative AI technology to be able to build our African continent. This is the technology that can help Africa out of our woes. Take it or leave it. We must embrace generative AI and solve our local problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Please, let's give Doctor a round of applause. That was super insightful. Thank you very much for your time and for that wonderful talk. Okay, Doc, before you go finally, I would just give opportunity to maximum 2 people to ask questions. So in case you are connecting virtually, please, and you have a question for Doc, please feel free to raise your hand or let me know if you would like to speak. And if you are here also physically present and you want to ask Doc a question, please go ahead by raising your hand. I'll give you the opportunity to ask your question. Is there anyone on the call, Google Meet call, that would like to ask a question? All right, I can see a hand up. Oh, okay, so I just saw one hand up now. I think that is Chukwebuka. Media. Kanebuka or Media, Mike? So please, quickly, we have very limited time. Go ahead and unmute your mic and ask your question. Okay, there's one question from you. All right, please come over. While Chukwebuka is trying to unmute their mic to ask, you can just bring up a question quickly. Yes, you can come over. Thank you very much. A question here from who? Okay, please come. Quickly. Okay, just your name, and if you're a student of MIVA University, let us know your department, then go ahead with your question.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Emmanuel Otnel Ega. I am an AI researcher. Okay. And my question, we're talking about AI adoption. So a lot has been said about model selection and also the possible sectors that we can leverage AI solutions to solve our problems. But my major concern, and it's also like a question, is, in terms of like the government, like policies, you understand, how do we balance the gap? Like if you go to the EU, you have the EU Act and all those policies that create this environment for some of these AI solutions to thrive. So coming down to Africa and Nigeria, how do you feel we can have policies and AI strategies that will help these AI solutions to thrive. And one thing is adaptation doesn't just stop from adoption, or adaptation doesn't just stop from model selection, data, and all that. We have a lot of AI solutions that are still in the lab today. A lot of them have not really gone into like deployment, production. So how do you feel startups, research labs can be encouraged to not just leave these ideas in their research labs, but push it from development down to production or deployment? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take the Doc, let's take the second question so you can just answer all together. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Doctor. My name is Nan Jurbali. I actually wanted to make a comment, not really a question, because of the emphasis or the point you were stressing on the difficulty associated with getting relevant information or data from relevant sectors or agencies of government, as it were. I have an experience to share. This is not really a bad experience per se, because myself and a colleague working on a project. He is from University of Port Harcourt. We are working on a project. When we began, he is the mastermind. He invited me to join him with some forms of support. Our challenge was the information we needed. We thought we would not get it. It was I'm careful about the name of the organization not to mention, but we need some very critical information that has to do with the revenue of this country from like 2020 to date. So we decided to write. We went through the email of that organization. We write stating clearly, categorically what we needed. I work in a government organization, I handle data. So I told him, let us put it this way. He sent a mail from his end. After barely 24 hours, the government agency acknowledged receipt of that information. And they requested that he validates that he is a student with a backup document, such as ID card, such as HOD letter of introduction, and some of those stuffs. So I am saying this to encourage us to feel like we can push, we can do it. Of course, you cannot publish an information about an organization, let's say Nigerian Population Census, and you don't have data from the commission that handles our NBS, Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. They will query that, and your data or your work will be grounded. It will be like an fruitless work. So we must endeavor to go through the right channel to get the information from an authoritative source, and I think it's possible.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, Doc, please go ahead to address the first question. Thank you.
Let me start from the last one. I'll go to the first. Now, you were able to get it, fine. I think we make life complicated in Africa. We should try and make life easy. There's enough stress in the system. It's about, we have to create the policies. How are they doing it abroad? Universities abroad, they have policies, they have agreements. For instance, if you need medical data, I know of somebody who was working in US doing a master's. The university has agreements with the various departments. They can go to their medical clinic, their university, the medical center, their hospital, to get data, anonymized data. Why don't we have such thing in Nigeria? You get what I mean? So I think it's about policies. Who made it difficult? We. Who is in charge of the data? We. Who has custody of the data? We. Who is suffering? We. So we can't go far except we solve our problems. The countries where things are working, they created policies, they created systems where things work. During COVID, I went to Luth, Idi Araba, to ask for some data on heart disease prediction. I don't want to mention the professor's name. She's the head of cardiology unit. She was asking me for grants. I said, no, just give me the data. Let's anonymize the data. I'll work with it. Just anonymize it. I will get my students, we're going to collect it, anonymize it. We don't need the details, personal details of the owner, just the data itself. I also show that online where data is being kept. different repository. They are putting it there. Universities are also putting their own there. We are not putting. Okay, give me data. No. I went to the bank. I wrote of the benefits of this model to them, credit scoring model. They said they will get back to me. They took the letter to their head office. I went there severally. They said they will get back. I went until I got tired. They said the management refused. So, as I'm talking to you yesterday, I sent one of my project students to our own medical center. He went there. The secretary said the director is not around. I know the director. I've already spoken to her 2 weeks ago about my student coming. So the secretary said she's not around. And it's a lie because the director is always in the office. I had to give my student the director's number. I said, stay there and call. Don't go. We now called with madam. The director picked and attended to him because the letter was said to be missing. He had dropped the letter in the records of it. They said they are looking for the letter. It should come back today. You see? So I don't know how we are going to solve this problem. We are the cause of our problems. For us to run far with these innovations, we need data. So I think we should deliberately, the people in charge of this need to be educated. We need to tell them why they should make this data available for us to use to drive this innovation. Because the data you get from all these public repositories will not suffice. The data has to be local from our own environment because we are building local solutions to solve our local problems. So we must gather our own data to solve innovations that would nosedive or scale up into enterprises. The ones online are just for research purposes, and that's not sufficient. So that takes care of that. So we must set up policies and systems to make it work. That's for the second speaker, the second person who made the comment. And for the other one was saying, how can we startups, research labs come together to make things work? They can't scale up. It's still the same issue of setting the right structure. The government, the different ministries involved in this innovation, we have science and tech, digital economy, ICT, all of them, the research institute, the academia, and in various ministries involved, we should sit together and come up with a framework, a plan of action. This is what we want to achieve. This is what we want to achieve. This is what we want to achieve. That's the way to go. How are the developed world doing it? Things are working there, but yeah, it's difficult. Things are not working. You go there, you write a letter, you show them your ID card, you want this for this purpose, for this purpose. They'll say they'll get back. You will go severally and you won't get. As I'm talking to you, all my project students are working on generative AI projects. There is one I read in January about the state of mental health in Nigeria is high. I saw the paper, the newspaper publication online. I went to the director of Yaba Neuropsychiatric Hospital. I went there. He wasn't in. I met his PE. He said that I should drop the letter to get back. I went there severally. I called just to give me data, anonymized data. Up till now, they've not given me. So my student is resorting to getting data online. So for us to move forward is affecting us because we would have gone further, would have done more if we have access to this data. Data is the fuel to drive these data-driven innovations. Without data, we can't go anywhere. So I think we, as we're here, we should do a communique and get in touch with the relevant bodies to come up with a framework, a system, a policy that data should be made available and anonymized so that we can use it to help the continent. Thank you.